Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for coming tonight for the opening reception of the Anthrop Naturel collection, now released for the first time at the Eye Gallery. I'm so very excited to present to you today an exciting program with first the curator, Monique Martin, who will begin with her introduction.
Hi, I'm Monique Martin, the curator of the Eye Gallery, and I'm hanging up the last of Ellie's pieces for her exhibition here that is on until December 31st. I selected Ellie for an exhibition here because I was really intrigued with her lily pieces, in that they show the uniqueness of each individual flower, and that not every flower is the same. And we tend to look at a species of flowers and go, oh yeah, they all look the same, but they are all quite individual. And so I was very intrigued by this piece and invited her to exhibit here. I hope you get a chance to come out and see the work or see it online. Thanks.
I would like first to acknowledge that we're located on Treaty 6 territory in the homeland of the Métis. Monique, thank you so very much for the introduction, and definitely for your patience with me these last few months while I prepared my very first solo exhibit in an art gallery. I'm so thankful for such an opportunity to officially release the Anthrop Naturel collection to the public. When I started photography, I had wanted to document the current state of the environment for posterity because of climate change, but 10 years of working outside in forestry and environment drastically changed my perspective. Plants and animals became individuals with thoughts, emotions, purpose, and sometimes even a conscience. They didn't seem so different to us anymore, and I started experimenting with different ways to demonstrate those similarities using photography and art. The Anthrop Naturel collection as a whole is what I would call a new journalism photographic essay. When relating the true story of the natural world as though it was a theatrical piece, I incidentally created fictional characters and placed them in a non-fictitious stage environment. The cast is introduced in the Blooming Personalities and Wild Portraiture series, where I used anthropomorphism to highlight their human likenesses. I also experiment with depicting their behaviors as stage movements using installations laid out like a negative film strip in the Motionism series. Lastly, this exhibit also includes pieces from the stage series in which I portrayed the harsh environmental conditions that they live in. It includes all the landscape installations and panoramic pieces that, together, act as the theatrical backdrop and place the characters on stage. Before I share with you this short story through a virtual tour of the Eye Gallery, I would like to mention that I strategically placed these pieces throughout the space to enhance the storytelling experience. I also hope that the characters that you see right here will remind you of yourself, and that you will notice the similarities between plants and animals that share some of the similarities with humans because we are them. Neither superior nor separate from nature. We're all part of the same world, and we're all striving to survive and make the best of life. And this really goes for this doe right here, a mother of twins. This piece is called Motionism 2, the ups and downs of motherhood. As you can see, as we go up and down, the motion of the doe brings it to life, just like a negative film strip normally would. So the idea with this series is to really bring to life the characters and get an appreciation for some of the movements that we might see in the real world. And this doe right here, she's eating scraps, obviously, just wetland vegetation, because she's not even second guessing eating those scraps because she's got those twins to feed, and she will put them first every time, and she's quite content with the scraps of a leftover meal here. As you go through the gallery further, you see the poster as you come in, And then right in the nook right here, you'll see some of the very first characters of the story. On the left, you have the melodramatic actors, and on the right, you have a warrior, just trying to motion, bring it, trying to bring me 1,000 more warriors because I've already defeated 1,000. And on the left, the actors are on a stage, kind of like a melodramatic piece from Shakespeare, where the lover throws herself to her husband or fiance who got shot from a bullet wound and is falling to his untimely death. So with this series, the Blooming Personality series that you see here, I'm really trying to put the characters in and really make their likenesses to humans come out using anthropomorphism. And these characters, I placed them against the stage series. This piece right here is one of the installations, and the stage is really, it's the backdrop of the theaters, of a theater scene. And right here you see a night sky at Waskesiu, but the idea with it is to really portray that nightlife really comes out at sunset, and that's when the activity really comes out. So the piece is called When Evening Calls. It's to attract people to come out of their dens and come to life and appreciate and come out and enjoy life. It's the cue. This piece right here is individuality. This is the piece that really epitomizes the collection, actually. If you can see, all the flowers are different, and that's the reason that I wanted to display it as in a grid like this. You can by removing the similarities between flowers, you can really see the differences. You can see the difference in petals. You can see the difference in color, in shape, and even the number of dots on each of the photos is different. And that really highlights the difference because this is all the same species. It's the prairie red lily, and it's the same species but different individuals, just like humans. We're all the same species, but each individual has different facial traits. So do flowers and plants. No two plant really looks the same, and this is what this piece is really meant to do, to really highlight that nature is an ensemble of different organisms, and sometimes it's really hectic like this piece, but sometimes it's very calm as well. Right here down the hall, you see a few more of the actors against the stage, and a few more over here. You have a family reunion, tourists at a museum, and a model striking a pose in front of a camera, right against a backdrop. This piece from Namibian Lake is actually called Resilience on Canvas, and I worked the piece, it's photography, but I made it look exactly on purpose so that as though it looks like painted on canvas. And when you look at the details, you can really appreciate how harsh the environmental conditions that these plants live in. They're in a crack, and they're just trying to make the best of it. Barely any moisture, barely any nutrients, and that's just what the environment looks like, and that's what they live in. It's really difficult. And this piece here, Wild Portraiture, number 2, Ruining in the Rain, really explains that sometimes there's absolutely no shelter from these harsh conditions. This owl is absolutely livid. He's just sitting in the rain. The flies are sticking in his eyes. He's pissed. He does not want to be there. He's not enjoying life. And sometimes that's just what it's like being outside all the time, and there's just no way around it. You just gotta make the best of it or wait until it gets better. And you can, just looking at him, you can just feel the anger coming out of him. And that's one of my favorite pieces, actually. Right here, this speaks to the mental strength that you need to have to really make it out there. This piece is called An Air of Immutable Tenacity. This is a bald eagle on the top of the tree, and it's sitting at the top of a burned tree across a burnt landscape at Namibia as well. And it's, imagine how it would be to live that your home has been burnt, and I'm sure some people may be able to relate, unfortunately, but these guys, they just have to move on. They don't stay in the same place. They might come back, but that won't be possible until maybe the next generation or two, until when the trees actually grow back, because the lifespan of an eagle is shorter than the lifespan of the trees. So this eagle is sitting on there. He's gotta be tough for the best, for the survival of the species. And he's just gotta make the best of life. And it's a peaceful piece, but it's very lonely as well sometimes. And you just gotta tough it out and find a way to make it happen, and just to get through things. And finally, there's a few more wild portraitures here. On the left, we have the spirit of a warrior, another juvenile bald eagle, but really trying to do what's best for the species. And over here we have an elk that is at Waskasiu, and really what's best for the species means that you keep an eye out for yourself and for your family all the time. That's what he's doing there. So that concludes the short virtual tour. I hope very much that you get a chance to see it in person, because you get to appreciate the detail and really take the chance to look at everything a little bit longer than this tour has been. So thank you for being here, and I'll take some questions towards the end here. Before we end, I would like to announce proudly that I will be donating to the Birchill's Legion 5% of my share of all the profits generated from this very exhibit. The last 2 years have been extremely difficult for everyone, including veterans, and many Legion branches have struggled to even stay open because of financial reasons. So with Remembrance Day fast approaching, I would like to thank all veterans from the bottom of my heart for their service and their sacrifice. I invite you to join me in honoring them with a musical piece performed by the Prince Albert Highlanders Pipe Band, followed by 1 minute of silence. Lastly, I'd like to sincerely thank you, Monique, for all your help and your coaching and your patience with me in answering my 300 questions as I prepare for this show. I couldn't have done it without you, and I'm very thankful. I'd also like to thank everybody else who's helped me in this. That goes for Steve, my mom, Louise and Claude, my grandparents, and of course my friends Pat, Russell, Guy, Ashley and her family, and Prince Albert Highlanders Pipe Band and friends. Dave Manette, Michael, and Gary Greenshield, who's also a veteran. So thank you so much, everybody, for all your help. And this brings to a close our opening reception and the release for the Anthrop Naturel collection, which is currently on display at the Eye Gallery. I would like to invite you to visit the gallery in person this November and December and really get a closer look at the pieces. I'd like to invite you also to stay tuned for more artwork because I plan on adding a few more pieces to this collection in the coming years. For those who would like to stay for a few extra minutes, the artist, myself, will be available for a live Q&A session. Otherwise, thank you so much for attending today, and I hope you have a really good weekend. Bye-bye. My apologies, there is no sound. I will start this again. Thank you so much for everything, for coming and watching and attending. I have a few minutes now to answer any of the questions that you might have. So I have my phone. If you want to go on Facebook Messenger, text me, or you can just go into the YouTube chat right here and I will read and answer your questions. Yeah, well, you get a taste of what the technical difficulties from the French broadcast look like. Sound problems. So sorry about that. I guess I could say that I've learned how to create an event like this in about 3 days. So I did a little bit of 4, let's say 4. It's taken me because all the frames went up at the gallery on Monday, and I've had 3 weeknights plus today as a day off to really prepare everything. So I think I'm pretty happy with the results so far, and I hope that you enjoyed the broadcast and that you liked everything that you saw in the virtual tour. Thank you so much for all the kind comments. You guys are proud of me, and I'm so thankful to have you as friends and people supporting me. Like I said, I couldn't have done it without you and everybody answering my questions and supporting me, and definitely dealing with me as a ball of stress all the way up to tonight. So I think I might have some questions here. Such kind words is all I see. Thank you so much. So if there's no questions, I think we'll end the broadcast. Oh, I have a question about the piece right behind me here. That's a good point. This is one of the pieces that with which I had a few difficulties in getting ready, just in time. There's sometimes when you prepare a big show and you've got, because 20 of the 22 pieces that were presented here are new from this year. I've had 4 months to prepare them on top of the exhibit and everything else. And one of this piece especially was, takes about 4 to 6 hours to work on the computer, let alone take the photo. It was taken from the lake too, so a big thank you to Steve for the awesome guiding experience that enabled me to take the shots that I needed to create a panoramic shot like this one. But in post-production, it took about all the way up to about 6 hours to create and proof and make sure the quality was really up to standard for a fine art print. And what's happened is that with a piece this size, it has to be sent to a print lab, because my home studio can only print to 9 by 16 inches. Everything beyond that size has to be done professionally with a plotter printer, which I don't have. So these plotter printers, they're bigger. They use archival quality paper and ink, and they're able to produce the giclée product that you see here. And this piece, there's a little bit of, it was a little bit delayed. I had difficulties with the product. Didn't come out the way that I wanted the first time, and there's some problems with it, so it got delayed a little bit, and so it's delayed getting to the gallery. But fortunately, because I'm able to use it and present it here at the opening reception, but this piece especially, if I'm going to explain what it is, this piece is called the Curtain Rising, and what I'm trying to show here is that most of the time when you look at a forest, you see dense vegetation cover, and it just creates a wall. And you know there's animals out there, you know there's life behind it, and there's lots going on. You might not fully be aware of what exactly is going on, but there's stuff happening. And sometimes and what I'm trying to do with this collection is that I'm trying to raise the curtain, as you can see on this side of the piece, where the curtain rises. It lifts the air of mystery and reveals the true self, nature's true self, in the individuals, the animals being who they are, and really just how like us they really are. And so trying to portray the air of mystery being lifted with this piece, and that's what it is. I have one more question. When can we come visit the exhibit? That's the word. The exhibit is actually up and going at the Eye Gallery in Saskatoon, so you can go anytime between now and December 31st, I believe, and it's available for the public to just walk in. It's right across the street from the U of S campus on College Drive, and I believe they have hours that look like 8 to 4 or 5 between Monday and Saturday. So anytime you're available, feel free to. I really encourage you to go and check it out in person, because some of the details get lost with the technology. So going in person will give you the chance to really appreciate and take your time with each piece and really appreciate the details. And I also have another question about how I got to the one photo that looks so 3D. Looks like you could touch it. I'm assuming here that you're referring to Resilience on Canvas, the other panoramic size photo. This, by the way, is 20 by 55 inches. It's as long as I am tall. and the other Resilience on canvas is the same size. So the 3D effect that I get with it is a combination of, if I was going to be really honest, a very low resolution and retouching and post-production. The combination of those two together, I was able to create a paintbrush effect and give it a 3D type look. So something I've really been experimenting with, and I really want to portray. Resilience on canvas is one of my favorite pieces because this is something, it's a look that I really appreciated maybe like a year ago, and I didn't know that I would be able to actually turn it into a piece, and I'm so glad that I was successful with it, and the product that I created is exactly how I envisioned it. So I'm very proud and very happy to have it in the gallery. So many questions, thank you. Is there any other? I'm here all night.
What kind of glass do you use?
I have a question here on the kind of glass that I used in my frame. So right here I have non-glare glass. So when I prepared the exhibit here, I recognized that the framing might not be to everybody's liking. What I see, how I like the piece to be presented, is not necessarily how you would like to see it in your house. These are all up for sale at a gallery. If you're interested in purchasing them and supporting the Birch Hills Legion, we'd all be very thankful. But the framing is not designed to be an archival nature. Archival framing would mean that you're able to protect the artwork for a very, very long time. We're talking decades. And with the framing that I've produced here, is the artwork is protected in conservation material, so not quite the archival quality, but we're talking it'll be able to protect the artwork for a few decades, 30 to 40 approximately, depending on how the photo was displayed and stored in your house environment. And so, but for the glass, I used non-glare, non-conservation glass, but it still contains about 45% UV protection. So if you place the frames in an environment in your house that's away from sunlight, the piece will be protected for a fair amount of time still. And if you really, really want to make sure that it's completely protected, I would strongly encourage you to get it reframed with fully conservation or archival quality materials, and that will ensure the piece is completely unchanged for the decades to come. So that's so I think that answers the question about the type of glass. So I guess that's why you're able to see a lot of the details. There's a little bit of glare, obviously, but we're not seeing each other in there, right? It's non-glare, so it's a little bit easier for seeing details in it. Any other questions? Good ones. For the pieces, I have a question about purchasing the photos, where we can purchase them straight from my website, or can you special order them for different sizes? All my artwork is actually in one size because it is art and the pieces are presented in the way that I envision them to be. So photography would let you print in a variety of different sizes to whatever liking you would prefer, but artwork, in my opinion, is something that's a little bit less flexible. So this is exactly the size that I see the piece to be in. That's the only size that's available. So 20 by 55, for example, in this case right here, it'll be only ever 20 inches by 55 inches. They are all limited editions only. I will only ever print 5 of them in addition to an artist proof for myself and for record keeping, you know. And so 5 only will ever be printed of these photos. So to answer the question about how to purchase any of the artwork, if you're interested, you have to go straight to the gallery for that, for the time of the show. And if you have any requests for placing order, you can contact me and I can get you in touch with the gallery for the purchase. If for the prices, you'll have to go to the gallery to really get an idea. But if you contact me on Facebook Messenger, privately on the side, I'll be able to get you hooked up on prices and how to get them purchased and everything. Very good questions, everyone. Thank you. This is all really good stuff. Well, I have a question here about, do they come framed or do they need framing? All the pieces at the gallery are for sale and they're all framed, so that's the case. And if you would rather a non-framed piece, we can definitely special order them for you. I prefer to sell just prints or frames. I strongly recommend just prints unless they're already framed. When shipping is involved, just the idea of shipping a print is a little bit easier and reduces the potential for damage. A frame is very fragile. Glass can shatter. The frame can get scratched, and usually it's not necessarily the one that you like for your house. So I strongly recommend to buy the ones at the gallery if that's what you like. But if you need them shipped out of province, this is what I mean here. Out of province is usually better for prints. So I can also private message me and I can let you know we can arrange for the print to be shipped. And otherwise, the only pieces currently in existence are at the gallery. I hope that answered the question. Is there any other? Monitoring. Looking good. So I think if there's no other questions, that will end the broadcast here. You're always welcome to contact me on Facebook, private message me, call me, whatever. And if there's anything else I can answer, you can get a hold of me that way, and I'll make sure that you get what you need. So thank you very much. Really appreciate you being here. And I hope you have a really good evening. I think we'll end the broadcast now. Thank you very much, everyone. Take care. Oh, this way.